Hi Sam. I'm really excited for today's lesson. We're going to learn the German word
lieben,
Hi Alex.
lieben,
What does that mean?
lieben,
means to love, and it can refer to affection for people, things, or activities. The most common use is in the context of romantic love.
Oh. So it's like saying,
ich liebe dich.
in English. But are there any tricky parts with this word?
Yes, actually. A common mistake is confusing
lieben,
with,
leiden,
which means to suffer. They sound similar, but the meanings are completely different.
Got it. Can you tell me more about the grammar of
Lieben,
Sure,
lieben,
is a regular verb. In the present tense, you say,
ich liebe, du liebst,
and,
sie, es liebt.
in the past tense, you would say,
Ich liebte,
for the perfect, you use,
hat,
plus the past participle, so it becomes,
ich habe geliebt.
So, can I say,
du hast geliebt.
for you loved?
exactly. And if you want to tell someone to love, you can say,
Liebe,
it's an imperative form.
That's really helpful. Where does the word
Lieben,
come from?
lieben,
Has its roots in Old High German, where it was,
Ljubi,
meaning dear or beloved. Over time, it evolved into the modern form we use today. It's fascinating how words change over the centuries, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love learning about the history of words.
Let's break down
lieben,
a bit more. The root is,
lieb,
which means dear, and the suffix is common for infinitive verbs. It doesn't have a prefix, so it's simple, but you could think of
lieb,
as the base meaning of love or affection.
That makes sense.
Now, let's look at some similar words. For example, with the same root.
lieb,
You have,
Liebling,
which means darling, and,
liebenswert,
meaning lovable.
What about other prefixes?
Great question. With the prefix,
wer,
theirs,
verlieben,
which means to fall in love. Then there's for,
unlieb,
which means unloved.
Wow, I see how that works.
You can also find
Liebe,
as a noun, meaning love. It's interesting how these pieces fit together, almost like building with Legos.
Can we practice using
lieben,
in sentences?
Of course. Imagine you're at a romantic dinner. You could say,
Ich liebe dich.
which means I love you. Can you try saying that?
ich liebe dich.
Perfect. Now, let's say you're at a gathering. You could also say,
Ich liebe die Musik hier.
meaning I love the music here.
Ich liebe die Musik hier.
Great job. One more scenario, you're talking about a hobby. You might say,
Ich liebe es zu reisen.
meaning I love to travel.
Ich liebe es zu reisen.
Nice work. Now, remember,
Lieben.
is informal. You can say,
Ich liebe dich.
easily to friends or family.
Got it. What are some typical phrases I could use with
Lieben,
You can say things like,
Ich liebe Schokolade.
meaning I love chocolate, or
Liebt seinen Hund.
meaning he loves his dog. And a common mistake is confusing
Lieben.
with,
Mögen.
which means to like.
That's helpful to know.
Let's try some example sentences. For instance,
Sie liebt ihren Freund.
means she loves her boyfriend.
sie liebt ihren Freund.
Excellent. How about this one?
Wir haben das Essen geliebt.
Which means we loved the food.
Wir haben das Essen geliebt.
Perfect. And here's another.
Ich liebte die Bücher, die ich gelesen habe.
Meaning I loved the books I read.
Ich liebte die Bücher, die ich gelesen habe.
Now, let's do a quick recall check. First question, what does
Lieben.
mean?
To love.
Right. What's the present tense form for?
Ich.
Ich liebe.
Correct. In the past tense, what do you say for?
Ich.
Ich liebte.
Yes. Now, what is the past participle for the perfect?
Geliebt.
Perfect. And can you give me an example of an informal phrase with
Lieben.
Ich liebe Schokolade.
exactly? You did great. So, to summarize today, we learned that
Lieben.
means to love. It's a regular verb with a rich history, and it's used in many contexts.
Thanks, Alex. I feel like I've learned a lot today.
I'm glad to hear that. Keep practicing, and you'll master it in no time.